What's up? So I did a video a while back. I can't believe it's already been 3 months. Um, it's called "My Preferred Method Was Needles," and this will be a second half of that. Well, I just got glasses too, so check it out. I'm not sure. Maybe I should just not wear my glasses. I'm in my hot trailer. It's just an old raggedy metal trailer that sits in the sun. It's kind of like a bread, like one of those little sun bread boxes you can actually bake bread in. So I'm like, you know, I'm baking like a loaf of bread, getting brown. Got freckles just coming out of nowhere. I'm not really a big fan of freckles. I got my perfect imperfections going on. Now you know I'm real. I'm not just an AI generated sexy beast. So yeah, to recap on my preferred method was needles. I used to shoot up. In that video, I kind of went through it all. This November it'll be 10 years since I shot up, and well, I didn't really get into the distance, that I actually went, or the details that I went along this distance in that last video. This will be so, like, after my grandparents took me in and I had stopped shooting up. I actually had to do a project with our septic tank. It had to be pumped, right? So we hired the septic people to come pump it, and they pointed out to me the what needed to be fixed in the septic tank in order for it to continue to work right. And which was, I had to rebuild the leach line, and I had to get down into the septic tank. Someone held my feet while I went down head first, and I replaced a T-pipe that comes into the septic tank, and it's got its special design that way for special reasons. But I had to put one in there and get it to stay secure, and I also had to build a new cement manhole head for it too. And that was a lot of fun. I had to do that, for my grandparents. I felt like I was convicted by God to do that, like that was kind of, I really did feel like I was on a mission from God to fix their septic tank. And I got out there and I dug the leach line with my bare hands. I didn't have any machinery. I used a pick and a shovel, and I moved probably 8 cubic yards altogether, after getting the line dug, pulled out the old pipe. I had to cut down a couple of trees, get rid of the roots, and then we had to order some rock, have put into the ground there. You put your pipe on for the water to go out into the rock, and then I had to recover it. So in total, it was about 8 yards. Actually, it was more than that because we had more than enough rock. I ended up moving that rock to other parts of the property. I mean, I'm telling you, I worked myself to exhaustion, really, and ended up falling ill, and like really sick. I got so sick that my whole body was in pain, and I couldn't hardly move. I was bedridden, and I wasn't sure exactly why. If it was germs that I got from the septic tank. I had also gotten bit in the forearm right here, right in the meat of right in the muscly part of my forearm. I got bit by a rat, and it was a big rat, and it had teeth probably that long, and it sunk its teeth right into the meat of my forearm, and that was an experience. Like, it didn't bleed immediately. Like, the skin kind of grew a volcano. Like, over a period of about 30 seconds, it turned into a volcano, and I was like just kind of bewildered by the shape of this volcano on my arm, and then it just erupted with blood. and that was, that was an experience. I was killing rats, actually. There was a whole bunch of rats, and I was using a BB gun, and I'd go out there with it already, pumped, and I'd get one rat, and then I could pump it 10 times, get another rat, and then I'd throw the gun down and I'd stomp on another rat. I could get up to 4 rats at a time, all right? And I was using these welding gloves at the same time so I could drop down on another rat, on the 4th rat. I never got more than 4 rats at a time, but I dropped down on that 4th rat, and then it was. I'm a guy. What can I say? Well, that night, it was in the chicken coop. Their chicken coop, they weren't used to having rats in their chicken coop. They were just suddenly overran by rats, and it was during the drought. It was before we got a lot of good rains over the last few years, and so the rats were there to eat, the chicken feed, the eggs, and they used the water, the chicken's water dish, and those rats' teeth were so long and big that they couldn't actually break the shell of the eggs. They couldn't bite them because their teeth were too long, and they couldn't quite get them around the eggs, and you could see the teeth marks on the eggs. And so that night, whenever I dropped down with my welding gloves, with my hands to crush a rat, right, which took quite a bit of force, you had to really overly do it till you hear their bones crack. That night, I instead of dropping right down on a rat, I dropped right down on its tail. And like I said, they were big rats, so that rat swung way up, and it bit me above my welding gloves in the forearm here, the meat. And so that's how that happened. I'm not sure why I got sick. I ended up going to the doctor, and I told them all these things. I was like, I've been working on a septic tank. I've been killing rats, I think there was a third thing that I got there. It's been so long now. But and I told them, I'm really sick. I don't know what's wrong with me. My whole body is really bad. And so the doctors did some blood tests on me. And, the third thing would have been that I used to be a needle junkie. That's pretty easy to remember, right? So they did a bunch of blood tests on me, and the only thing that came back positive was I was positive for hepatitis C. And which, I was 11 months into being off the needle. I was living a full life. I was being a man. And I felt great, And then all of a sudden I fell sick, and I was diagnosed with, or I got a positive hepatitis C test result, which just really, it was a real big letdown for me. It was like the needle was catching back up to haunt me. And my doctor took another blood test, and she told me to come back in a week to get the viral load and results. Get the viral load results. See how much viral load I had. And so I went home. I told my grandma what was going on, and me and her prayed about it. And then I returned to my doctor's appointment. We prayed about it just before I went back to my doctor's appointment. I kept it all to myself for that week. And then I told my grandma what I was going through, and we prayed about it right before I went to my doctor's appointment. And my doctor, she came in, and she said, well, your viral load is 0. And I was really, I thought that was really bad news, like I was going to die or something, And And I was like, oh, that's really bad, And she said, no, that's really good. The virus is zero. You don't have the virus. You just have the antibodies for the virus. She said I was exposed to hepatitis C at some point, and I now have, and my body made antibodies, and it fought it off all by itself. And I was like, wow, it's like, is that normal? I mean, I never heard of that before. And she said, well, it can happen between 2 to 5% of people can have that type of an experience with hepatitis C. And of course I was like, I think it's because I prayed, we prayed about it, or I don't know. And so that's also part of my testimony of me getting off the needle, like 11 months into getting off the needle, I get this big letdown. Oh, you've got hepatitis C, and then when they do more tests, they're like, well, actually, you don't have hepatitis C. You've got just the antibodies for hepatitis C, and I just slowly got healthier again. Well, honestly, I don't know if they never really looked for anything else, what caused me to be sick, whether it was from that rat bite or from the germs I was exposed to, or what. There's got to be something that caused that, right? But yeah, that's the second part of my preferred method was needles video. I don't know. I don't know what it really means. If God's really doing all this miraculous stuff for me, does that mean that would he do that just and then just let me go, like die soon or something, or is there some big destiny that I have to fulfill, and that's the reason he's keeping me alive and healthy and keeping me going? I got a lot of questions like that. What's God really got in store for me, basically? If he's doing all this stuff for me now, what's coming up in my future? And it's not like what good's coming up for me in my future. It's more like, what's he gonna have me do in the future? like God's a loan shark that he loaned you some grace and an extended life, after you should have already died, basically. And he's got a reason for it, like you got a task that you have to fulfill, and so that's kind of the mystery that we all live, really. I live every day. Every day is an extra day that I wasn't gonna live. Whenever I was shooting up, I should have already died. But it's a pretty exciting. It's a pretty exciting way to live. Like expecting God to have you do something. And like I was talking about that septic tank job, you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you, and I literally felt like God wanted me to do that job, and he worked through me to the bone. And well, who better to put to a task like that than a needle junkie? You know what I mean? Like, that was a very dirty job, and he made sure I got it done. And Well, I take on just about any other task that nobody else wants to do. If I find a task that needs to be done, that nobody wants to do it or can do it, I'm honored to be, willing to sacrifice, my dignity to lower myself into those types of ditches, and to help out or to do God's work, or to do just to be of service to another person who's in need. You know, that really that's very rewarding to your soul. No matter who you are, I don't care who you are. You could be a preacher, or you could be a gangster on the streets. And you know, I'm sure there's been a gangster or two out there that's helped someone out, and they actually, they felt built up inside about it. They're like, yeah, that's right. I helped that person out. Like just getting the gratitude from that person. It was a little old lady that they helped across the street. So she didn't get ran over. There's a payment in your soul that you get. And that's a great feeling. That's a big rush of endorphins and serotonins and whatever else serotonins. And so I enjoy doing that, and being a tool of the Lord. You know what I mean? Just it feels good. I'm kind of addicted to it. Anyway, so here's my newest video. I want to show everyone I got glasses. And they're the kind that, they're Duraflex. So next time I get socked in the face, hopefully they won't break. I haven't worn glasses since I was in 9th grade, but I've always needed them. And, yeah. Oh, yeah, so my face, I haven't really done any videos about my face. You can't hardly see the incision here. I actually have a big bar, something I learned after I went back to my doctor for a checkup. I have a big metal bar that goes from right here. It's got 2 screws in right here, and it goes all the way back here. They put all that in from inside my mouth. And so anytime I drink something cold, as soon as the cold hits that part of my mouth, I can feel the cold all the way up here because it goes through the metal. And that kind of feels good. I kind of like the way that feels, So I like weird things like that. And they even offered. They're like, yeah, we'll be glad to take the screws out and the bar. I got a plate up here too. I was like, nah, you know what? I think I'll keep them. Plus, I don't really want that invasive surgery going on again. But yeah, so I can talk a lot easier now. I was having a lot of trouble talking. You could imagine if you can't feel a quarter of your mouth. I couldn't feel this half of my upper mouth. I'm very slowly getting sensation. I still can't feel anything in my gums or anything there, but I can feel my upper palate. Can't feel my teeth still. Matter of fact, that bar that I was talking about, it's got my upper palate kind of shoved. They had to pull it all into the right position, but it's actually all my teeth are just scrunched together now the way they've got it. And I used to have a little bit of space between my teeth, and now I can hardly even get a dental floss in between them. They're just so smashed together. But that's not their fault or their problem. It's just the facts of life, right? But yeah, so there you go. There's my update, y'all. I'm getting fat. Me and my dad's joining a gym. He needs a gym buddy. He needs to do it for his health. And well, I'm just gonna take advantage of him buying me a gym membership, and I'm just gonna go and work out with him. Over and out.